What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Limitless Business Owners Podcast. My name is Andrew Giorgi, and I'm here with my co-host of the podcast, Dan Fisher. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, first of all, we want to welcome you. Okay, we're super excited to be on this journey, this business owner journey with you, and help you along the way. Okay, our whole goal with this podcast and really our passion in life is to bring the everyday business owner content and stories they can relate to, and also fresh new perspectives, fresh new mindsets, new thoughts, new ideas, strategies, tactics to help you grow your business. Okay, if you take one thing out of each episode and start implementing it into your life and business today, we promise you're going to start seeing massive growth. Let's hop into the show. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode. I'm here with my boy, Dan Fisher, and we have a guest this week. Very interesting guest, Rich Cantolina. Rich is a boxer, actually undefeated, I believe, and he owns Sanctuary Boxing Club. Rich, welcome to the show, man. So pumped to have you here with us.
Glad to be here, guys. Thanks for the invite, man. I'm really pumped for this one.
Absolutely. Dan's in Denver.
Yep. I'm always traveling, man. I always feel like I'm on the road and making it really hard for you, just like showing up last minute.
Right. Making me edit. And
right.
No.
But yeah, I'm really excited. I knew Rich coming in high school, and, we came from, he was a year younger than me. And so it was, different crowds, but we all knew of each other. It was a fairly small, I would say medium-sized high school. But the cool thing is Rich has really grown throughout these last 10 years or 12 years or 15 years, however long it's been since high school. My God.
You keep saying 15 years, it's 20 years. We just keep getting older.
Goodness. Jeez. He's always showing amazing posts, and he's a role model to not only his family, but the people around him. And he is an owner in Sanctuary Boxing, which, I'm sure he has got a slew of stories. He's always posting pictures of Pittsburgh Steelers. And so I'm super excited and can't wait to hear more about it.
And Rich can probably kick our asses too, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, I ain't doing that unless I'm getting paid for it. And no one's paying me to beat either of you two up. So you're all good. You're safe.
Good. Man, I just got to bring up, because you guys are Pittsburgh boys and the Cardinals are just manhandling the Pirates right now in the series.
Hey,
I mean, you can say that about any baseball team, right?
Right.
Except for the Dodgers.
That's true.
Hey, that's my second business. I didn't tell you guys that, but that's my second business. I own a FanDuel account, and I bet against the Pirates every single day. And I come out on that. I win a lot of money, dude. I'm telling you, think about it. If you bet $10 on the Pirates to lose every game, and you end up winning, let's say, $15, $20 a game, and then next year you take that investment, you take that money, and you bet $20 a game for them to lose. They're going to lose 100 games, and they're going to win maybe 62. So
that's true.
You're 38 games ahead.
Wait, look at that.
And if you do it
I think you should start a TikTok and start saying
right.
instant money.
Hey,
don't bet on the winning teams. Bet on the losing teams, right?
Yeah.
The teams that are bad.
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, that's what I do every day. Cincinnati Reds, Oakland Athletics, and the Pirates. A lot of times I parlay them in there, and it's even more money. I'm telling you, dude. People are going to catch on.
That's hilarious.
I'm hoping
you don't want to tell too many people. The poll's going to go down.
Hey, if I can do this for like 30 years, I might be able to buy the Pirates. That's my goal. Use the money that they lost with and buy them so I can finally watch a winning baseball team. It's pathetic, man. It really is. It's sad.
Yep.
Hey, they have some young guys though. They do.
Yeah, they farm them out.
Yeah, they suck.
Right.
As soon as they do good, they're going to trade them. So.
Right. Yeah. Man, I don't feel bad for the fans. I mean, there's a reason why only like 7,000 people show up to the games. It
should be less than that. It should be 700 or 7.
Yeah.
I haven't gone in 6 years. I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't take my family or anybody to the games, and I used to love going to the ballpark, but I can't support that anymore. And I don't go to Seven Springs either.
It's a beautiful ballpark too.
It's the best ballpark in the country.
Yeah. It's amazing, man.
And we can't put a winning roster out there.
People keep buying a bad product.
Yeah. Well, when you look at the guys they traded away, I mean, dang.
Yeah. Lighten it up.
They're killing it. They'd be good. They'd be really good.
The farm
business
system
model
for the Major League Baseball. That's all we are.
That's what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough baseball talk. I can talk baseball all day long.
Yeah, you can.
Rich, I want to hop into your story, man. You seem like a very interesting individual. For one, you box, man. That's freaking cool. I've always wanted to learn, and there's no boxing places around me though. I'm in St. Louis, about 40 miles south of St. Louis. So, there's no place to go.
That's why he brought up the Cardinals.
Right. I got to feel good about something, right?
I'll find you a boxing gym.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
So yeah, Rich, man, the floor is yours. Start wherever you want to start. I'd love to hear your story. How you got into boxing, how you started Sanctuary Boxing Club, and kind of what you're doing today.
So I guess we could start from the very beginning, how it all came together. So my dad boxed growing up. He was in the Navy and boxed in the Navy and stuff. So, at a young age, I'd be 4 or 5 years old, with ski gloves on and socks on my hands, and we were boxing in the living room. And so I think my dad, kind of kept me out of the gym for a long time because he knew how dangerous the sport was, and he had to quit boxing because he broke his nose and had to have it replaced, and it was a nasty injury. So, he kept me out of the gym for a long time, and then just kind of trained me at home by himself. And then, going to Ambridge High School, I'm sure Dan can attest to this. It was it's a rough area at times. So, there was street fights all the time going on, and different things going on inside the school, just stupid things. And I happened to go to a fight after school one time, and my friend was beating up this kid, and it turned out to be a group fight. And my other friend got punched in the head, and then they kicked his head in, and he had to go get staples put in his head. And I came home, and my dad was like, all right, that's it, time to start training. So I ended up starting into mixed martial arts, which most people know is like what you see on the UFC. And so I started 16, training at 16 while I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then, my mom, she was really against it. She said, you can learn self-defense, but you're never going to fight. I said, yeah, okay. I'll just learn self-defense, Mom. Sure, whatever. Right. And then in PA or Ohio or MMA in general, you can't fight till you're 18. So on my 18th birthday, I had my first MMA fight, and the rest was history. I was really hooked into just the individualized, like one-on-one, like mano a mano. Like I didn't have to rely on a pitcher. I didn't have to rely on a quarterback. It came down to me, or who worked harder, who wanted it more. And so I started doing MMA. I ended up with I think I still own the record of most amateur fights in Pennsylvania. I ended up having 20. I finished with a record of 12-8. And then as I was getting more into MMA, I started liking the striking aspect of it. And since my dad was a boxer, I was like, you know what? The thing around here was Golden Gloves. Everyone wanted to be a Golden Gloves champion. So I was like, I'm gonna see what I got against these boxers. So I was getting ready to turn pro in MMA, and I was like, I'm gonna go to boxing for a little bit, because if you turn pro in MMA, you can't compete in the Golden Gloves because it's an amateur tournament, and it's all amateurs. So I went to amateur boxing, and I had one fight before Golden Gloves. And what happened was this is funny because no one really understands this. I thought I was coming to boxing and getting easy matchups. I thought I was going to be way over experienced because I had 20 MMA fights. Well, karma got a hold of me there. And when I came to boxing, if you have one MMA fight, you have to fight in the open division in boxing, which is 10 or more boxing bouts. So I could have fought some guys these kids have been boxing since they were 4 years old, like 400 amateur fights, 300 amateur fights. Most of them have like 70. So I got put in the open division in Golden Gloves, and this is 2017, I believe. And I ended up winning the whole thing in Pittsburgh. So I was a Golden Gloves champ in Western PA. And in open, the winner goes and fights for a state title. So I went and fought in Philadelphia against a kid named Francis O'Rand, who is now ranked, I believe, 4th in the world as an amateur. He's way bigger. When I fought him, he was a 16 or 17-year-old kid, and he was like 6'2". I never fought anybody taller than me, so it was a different game plan. I ended up losing by split decision, and that was the wake-up call for me. Like, I realized on that day that I could hang with the best guys in this game. Yeah. And so I ran off a lot of amateur fights. We were talking about this the other day with a bunch of people at fights. I'm probably upwards of 80 to 90, close to 100 fights combined with professional, amateur MMA, and boxing. So I turned professional, rattled off seven wins, 7-0-1. I have one draw. So still undefeated. But after that, there's this new sport out there, and I watch it all the time. It's called BKFC. It's bare knuckle boxing. And so I talked to my manager. We had to sit down and talk, and I said, hey, this is fast growing sport. I felt like it was like the UFC in the very beginning when I'm watching it. It just has that aura to it. Like people are really attached to this sport because it's so violent. There's a lot of knockouts. Like in boxing right now, the best guys are avoiding each other. You're not going to see the best fights. A lot of decisions. It's kind of boring at the state of boxing we're in. And the UFC, I just think it's so overplayed right now. And there's nothing against it. I just feel like every time I turn my TV on, there's a different UFC event. Yeah. And it used to be once a month, and you were like, you couldn't wait to get with your boys and watch that UFC event. And now it's just kind of like oversaturated the market. And I feel like BKFC is coming up. So I was like, hey, man, they got tryouts in Slidell, Louisiana. Like, what do you think? And he's like, hey, if you want to make the change, I'm with it. Let's go see what you got. So we flew down to New Orleans and spent 3 or 4 days in New Orleans, let's say downtown, and tried out in Slidell, Louisiana, and I got offered a contract. So boxing's going to be left in the past here, and I'm going to bare knuckle. As you can see, I'm kind of working on that.
Dang, man.
Busted one up a little bit, but yeah, man, it's just I have changed everything, change how I'm training and all that. But this will be my TV moment, and a lot of people don't understand that, like when I make that walk the first time, like what went into that. Like this is a decade of hard work and ups and downs, wins and losses, and like I tell people all the time when I make that walk and I hear my music, like that first TV moment in front of a worldwide TV audience, I'm going to take my time. Like I'm not sprinting down that aisleway. I'm going to soak it all in because, man, this has been a marathon to get here. So we're talking with a manager, and it looks like August debut in Tampa or Albuquerque, New Mexico. So yeah, they think they I don't know, they're boxing people, so they told me, we really do believe you can win a world title 145. So I'm going to start at 155, have a couple fights there, and then I'm going to try to go win a world title 145 and be the BKFC champ.
Dang,
you got to tell us.
That's pretty huge news, man.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I held it. The hardest part, man, was I held it a secret from everybody. Like even my wife, I told her, I said, my whole life, I never traveled, I never got to really experience the world. So when I was in New Orleans, I'm like, I'm not going to call anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody how it went. I just want to enjoy my time here a little bit. And so it was a hard kept secret. I kind of put some hints out there at times because I couldn't hold it back. Like when they offered me a contract, I was like, man, how am I going to hide this from everybody? But it's out there now, so everyone knows. But yeah, I'm really excited, man. It kind of, after so long in this game, it kind of like, I feel young again. It relit that fire inside me. So yeah, I'm just getting ready out here now, man. I'm starting training camp. I'm planning for 8-week training camp and see what happens.
Wow. Yeah. What's that like? What's the differences between training for, normal boxing versus the bare knuckle?
Just the game's a little different. So like in bare knuckle, you're allowed to, and I think just from my MMA experience is going to help me out. Like you're allowed to actually grab the back of the head. You're allowed to clinch and punch at the same time. So like in boxing, I can't pull somebody's head and punch. Like once you tie up in boxing, they break you, and if you need a rest, that's a good way to get it. But in bare knuckle, it's nonstop. But in the rounds, a little different. So I'm used to 3-minute rounds. And bare knuckle BKFC's 5 2-minute rounds. So,
gotcha.
A little higher volume, and then I'm trying to like. These are keyboard hands, man. Like I don't know, I'm not a blue collar dude, so I got to bust these knuckles up a little bit. So I've been punching like phone books with duct tape and wood and cinder blocks and shit, but.
Just cue the Rocky montage music.
Right.
Yeah, it's different, man, but. There's one guy in Pittsburgh that has fought for the BKFC, so he opened the door for me, and I'm just kind of following. But I hope to be, that guy that makes it deep into the BKFC and can open some doors here for the rest of those guys in Pittsburgh and more opportunities for everybody else.
So how do people watch BKFC? Is it on a certain channel or streaming?
Yeah, they have their own app. It's $5 a month. So when I fight, I'll be posting a link, and you get a referral code, and I get money off of that, and then you save money. So I'll be posting a link when it gets closer to fight time, and then everyone can tune in. But yeah, it's worldwide. They have fights even in Thailand. They're going to England in August at the Wembley Stadium. So it's big, man. It's huge. They signed guys from like the UFC. Chad Mendez is there.
Man,
it's a really big deal. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. I'm excited for it.
We'll post that link too in the whenever we get it. We'll update the podcast description so people can come back to this episode and get that link to watch you, murder somebody. So
that's the plan. Get them out of there early, man. I'm not trying to break my hands or my face.
So Rich, you obviously you're still fighting, and we can see where the progression from boxing to opening Sanctuary Boxing Club, that passion in your life. Let's hear that story of how you opened Sanctuary up and like where you started and where you're at today with it.
Man, you're in for a wild story.
I love it.
I'm not going to put anybody's name or company names involved, but man, you're in for a good one. So I forgot this part of my big story was after high school, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do with my life. My dad told me, you can't turn pro. You got to have a backup plan. What if you break your neck, So he's like, what are you going to do? My pap was telling me to go to trade schools. I didn't feel that was in my future. So I was like, I was actually going to wrestle at Gannon University. And this is where my parents almost killed me. I had an academic scholarship to Gannon University, and my sister went there. So I just felt like I was following in her footsteps. Yeah. So one weekend in the summer, senior year, I went to Slippery Rock and visited my cousin, and she was going there. And I partied a little bit, and I was like, whoa, hey, this is all right. So I went home and was like, Mom, I don't really want to go to Gannon anymore. And my dad was like, what? And I was like, I don't want to wrestle anymore. It's D2. I'm going to kill my body. I'm not going to focus on my academics. Like, I want to go to Slippery Rock. And, they had these new dorms, and it was like a whole new world for me. So here's another funny story. So I get there, and I was late, but I had the academics to get in. So they let me in, but I wanted to go for the whole new dorm thing, And so they put me in the old shitty dorms, North Hall. So I was like, Mom, this can't happen. Like, I have to get in that new dorm. She's like, hang up the phone. So I hung up with Slippery Rock, and she's like, I got an idea. So I called my pediatrician, and I was like, hey, I need all my allergy and asthma reports. And he's like, for what? And I was like, Slippery Rock. And so my mom calls him and goes, hey, that mold content in that building from being so old,
that's amazing.
He can't stay there. And so they were like, oh, he's a student with a disability. And I was like, what? So I had my own room that you could have rolled a tank through. Like, I didn't have to share with nobody. I had my own room. I got the schedule ahead of the seniors. It was wild. So I changed my major 19 times my freshman year at Slippery Rock because, like any other 18-year-old kid, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, right? So I ended up talking to my cousin who was a safety manager. He was really high up in Anheuser-Busch. And he was the one that kind of set me on the path to safety management. Slippery Rock's the top 5 school in the country for safety management. What that is like OSHA related stuff. You could go many different directions. You could go insurance, you could go out into the field, you could do consulting. So I ended up graduating with a bachelor's degree in safety and environmental management. And from there I went and worked in a steel mill in Ambridge for 2 years. And then I went on to a consulting firm, did a lot of Mark West oil and gas work. And I really loved that. That's kind of where I found my feet in the Mark West world, because I was traveling all over, doing all these different midstream plants and stuff, and construction. And just sitting there talking to the guys in the field is where I felt like that was home. Because my dad was a blue-collar electrician his whole life. So I knew how to get through to those guys, but I could also sit down and have a meeting with management and change the way I was talking. So from consulting, I ended up getting hired from a firm I was working for as a consultant. So their guy left, and so I was consulting for them for 6 months, and they're like, hey, we're trying to save some money, like cut out the middleman. We want to hire you on salary. And it was a big decision for me because the consulting firm was like family to me. Like I never saw my boss. We played fantasy football together. Like it was just that family environment. And if I was leaving, it also had to be a very family environment company. And so I felt at home there. So I made that decision to jump on full time I was a regional safety manager. So I was in charge of like PA, Ohio, like Eastern United States, traveling a lot. And then what happened was I started coaching at the Mat Factory, which is a MMA gym up here. It's one of the best MMA gyms in the country. A lot of guys are fighting for the UFC, Bellator out of there. So I started coaching striking there, and I was like, man, I like this. You know, I just did a boxing lesson, and the coach was like, hey, you want to keep doing this? Like, you're doing a good job.
So we lost Rich for a second. His phone overheated. He was outside. Look, guys, he's trying to go from 155 down to 145 for his, so he's trying to sweat off the weight here. No, Rich, I believe we lost you. The last I heard was, the consulting firm was like family. So if you want to pick up from there, kind of that move from the consulting firm to the other company you were talking about, that'd be great.
Yeah. Also known as the final destination. So, I was leaving the consulting firm. This company that I was consulting for wanted me to be the regional guy. So I made that jump because they were very family oriented. I thought I was going into less hours, and in case you guys don't know this part, I do have 6 kids and a fiance. So I wanted more time with my kids. I felt like when I was in the oil and gas world, there was times I was staying in West Virginia for 6-7 days at a time, and I was missing my kids growing up, and I was just kind of tired of that aspect of work. I didn't want to work. My dad, and I think I got it from my parents. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad never missed a T-ball game till the time I was a senior in wrestling. Never missed a home or away match. So I just felt like it was my time to do that and be in my kid's life. And so I made that change. And then, oh man, here we go. So I was working at the Mat Factory being a striking coach, and I wanted to continue being a coach. So me and my fiance started looking for buildings in our area, and we ended up finding this church, and we put a bid in on the church, and I was still being a safety manager at this company, and put a bid on the church, and the lady took it. So we were really excited, and then she came back and said, hey, my dad passed away, and I didn't know he had a contract signed that this has to go to an auction. So we no longer owned the building, and my wife had to go to an auction, which we've never been to before, or my fiance, sorry. And so she's sitting there with all these like real estate investors, and she just, she ends up winning the auction. We ended up paying a little bit more than we wanted to for the building, a little original than our higher bid, but we ended up with the building. So my plan was to continue being a safety manager for this company and opening 1 day a week for boxing, just to see how it was. And so it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money to get that building ready. Changing a church to a boxing gym is not cheap. So we were doing that. We were open 1 day a week, and we were booming. I mean, it was Wednesday nights, and this was like October, probably 2019, 2020-ish. And then, I was like, man, I found my passion, and I didn't want to go to work anymore. It was hard to get up and go to work because I found what I really was destined to do in life. And I wanted to find a way to leave my job and do it full time, but I didn't have the financial stability or the balls to jump headfirst into the unknown. With 6 kids, like if I was by myself, it might have been an easier decision. With 6 kids, I couldn't leave that salary position and knowing what my pay was every 2 weeks and being able to support my family. So between those two things, it was tough. And then the way destiny works is it has weird ways. So COVID hits. And here we go. I'll try to make this as PG as possible, how this went down. So I was in charge of COVID, the COVID safety program for the company that I work for, because of safety, health, and environmental management. So, I was telling everyone they had to have their masks on and this and that. But when it came to boxing, it was my business, and that's not truly what I believed in. And so I didn't want to force somebody to wear a mask while they're working out. And I also believed it was my right as a business owner to keep my doors open during the pandemic, because some of these kids, man, like they need that place.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the sanctuary got named because that's what it is, man. Some of these kids, their home life, I knew that if I shut those doors, who I was shutting out, and I couldn't do it. So I kept open during the pandemic when I was told I needed to shut, when gyms, barbershops, all that went down, and I needed to shut my doors. And I talked to my fiance about this. We were going to take the fines. I was going to pay it. I couldn't shut the doors on the kids because I knew what it meant to them to be in that boxing gym. So as this goes on, this COVID's hitting, it's getting harder and harder. And as a safety guy, like, it's hard because the company's telling you what they want you to do and what they want you to push on the guys. And that's not truly what I was believing in this pandemic really was. So, like, when I would go out there and see guys with masks off, I'd be like,
yeah,
I didn't want to be a dick about it, but, that's what they were paying me to do. So I also had an issue because as a salary person, I was salary my first job and my last job. And it always seemed like I knew what I signed up for, but I still, I wanted to be home with my family. And I'd get phone calls at 7, 8 o'clock at night and just seeing how my day was. So I finally told my boss, hey, you're a single guy with your wife and that's it. Like, I got kids at home. Unless it's emergency, if it's an emergency, I'll show up, man. I'll whatever. Call me at 2 a.m. I'll be there, that was my job. But don't call me to see how my day was. So COVID's going on. We're working from home. And I get a phone call, FaceTime phone call on my laptop. And it was my boss. And he said, we need to have a talk. And this is 7 o'clock at night. And I'm like, yeah, about what? And he goes, COVID. And I'm like, all right, what about it? And he's like, the gym. And I'm like, dude, if you could have seen my face, I was like, what?
Ooh.
Like, what about the gym? And he was like, you are in charge of the COVID program for the company. You're telling everyone they got to wear their masks, this and that. It's a conflict of interest because then you have pictures posted on your Facebook page at the gym with people with no masks on. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And what's that got to do with you? And, I saw it from their point too. Like, it was a conflict of interest for them. And so, they gave me two options. They basically said, I had to delete my Facebook. I had to make the kids wear masks. They were basically telling me how to run my business outside of work, controlling me 24/7. And so my dad had passed away a few months earlier from pancreatic cancer. And, I always, that was my outreach, that was my safety net. And if I needed something, I'd call him. And I thought to myself in that day, if I called my dad, what would he tell me to tell him? That's what I did. I lawyered up. I called HR, called my boss, and they said in 2 days. So the next day they called me and said, hey, you didn't delete the pictures and stuff. And I said, yeah, well, I'm taking time to think about it. And so then this is when things get interesting. I'm not going to say what I said, but I called a few people. I threw a couple fingers that end up in the middle of your hand. And I said a few F-bombs, and I handed in my laptop, and I walked away. And I was forced in that day to open the gym. There was no paint on the walls. We were still doing drywall. And I was forced to open my business in the middle of a pandemic that wasn't finished and jump headfirst into it. Cool. And, man, what that has become it's special. And what I went through makes me appreciate it even more. People don't understand how hard that was in the middle of a pandemic when I wasn't even allowed to be open and try to make a financial income to support a family of me, my fiance, and 6 kids.
Wow.
But here we are.
So
we survived it.
Yeah. So in the beginning, how did you get clients in the beginning? So I'm sure you started with kids, and then I checked Sanctuary. It seems like you're doing some adult classes too, more boxing classes. How did those clients find out about you? How did they know that, hey, in the middle of this pandemic, you're open? So on and so forth.
My fiance owns a tattoo studio, man. And I learned a lot of business through her. And, she's always said this, every tattoo that they put out there is, it's an advertisement for them. And word of mouth is either your best friend or your worst enemy. And so I truly believe that if I treated every person that came through those doors, whether they were white, black, Republican, Democrat, Christian, or atheist, if I treated them all the same, word of mouth was going to get out there that this boxing gym's in New Ken. We're here to stay. And not only was it a boxing gym, it was a mentorship program that, I really take these kids under my wing. I'm hard on them. There's strict rules in that gym. And, I put it on Facebook as advertisement. I used Facebook at the very beginning as a my best tool. Instagram a little bit, and then word of mouth was our best thing, man. Like just treating everybody the same and showing my skills as a coach and watching these kids get better and be able to defend themselves. And then it just started compounding and growing and growing and growing. And it's gotten to the point where we're at now, and we're still not finished. You know, my goal is to expand in Pittsburgh area. I want to be able to open gyms and give kids a chance as managers and give them a job. I want to be able to give these kids that I'm coaching up. I have a lot of kids that help me coach at the gym. That's part of like their giving back. So, maybe someday they can own a gym and not have to go to college and waste money and do this and do that. And they can also do what I'm doing now, but at an earlier age.
Wow. That's one hell of a mission. No, for
hard,
real,
man.
I mean, it's I working with teenagers. It's not easy. I mean, they're going through stuff,
we have 3 rules at the gym. One is every 9 weeks you got to show me your grades. If your grades are slipping, and the parents now with Skyward and stuff like that, they can see their grades at all times. So I've gotten a lot before even the 9 weeks of, hey, my kid's grades slipping, and I kick them out of the gym until your grades are up. And the reason for that is school is easy. High school, elementary school, it's easy.
Right.
If you just do the work, it's easy. Yeah. So if you're too lazy to do your homework and you're too lazy to go to school and you're too lazy it just comes down to laziness. So if your grades are slipping, it's because you're lazy. And if you're going to be lazy, you're not going to make a great boxer. So out of the gym you go, you get your grades up, you can come back. And then rule 2 was no bullying, man. Like I see a lot of videos and these kids, man, it's disgusting what these kids do at school anymore. Like I saw a kid in Kiski getting bullied where my kids go to school over his shoes in the bathroom, crying because he had not the cool shoes, And so there's no bullying inside the gym, outside the gym. If you're ever caught bullying anybody or anything like that, I get a school, from phone call from the school because I know all the teachers and principals in the area. You're out of the gym for good. There's no questions asked. And last one is no fighting outside of the gym unless you're defending yourself. And
real life, man. and
see, that's why I was outside. But
it's no problem.
But the coolest part is, within the no fighting outside of the gym. I've had kids even like their parents will message me like, hey, they're getting picked on at school and like, where do we draw the line? And I'm like, hey, that's a family decision. I'm not stunned. They can't fight. Like that's the goal, is to be able to defend yourself. And we have a kid in the gym. I'm not going to say his name, but he was getting picked on, and that's why he started coming to the gym. And this went on for 2 years. And, when it comes to the gym, at times he's like in la la land, but, he does a good job there. And one day he had enough on the bus and they picked on him. He beat the shit out of 3 kids. So that was when I realized like how important this really is. Like, for that kid to be able to not put up with that crap anymore and stand up for himself. And he, we gave him a award at the gym and like clapped him up, and it was like a really good day for him. But
wow.
Yeah. And Rich, I want to go back a little bit. So first of all, I want to commend you for your vulnerability that you are basically all the time. I don't know a time when you're not vulnerable, to be honest with you. And
I'm an emotional guy, man. My heart is.
Well, and that's appreciated.
I wear that on my sleeve.
It's so genuine, and I think that it's so easy it's going to be easy for you to build a business because you're so genuine, and it's coming off as it's genuine compassion for these kids and for adults too. And it's not only in the gym. If you're following Rich on any social media, there's going to be, he puts it out there and he shows you exactly what he's going through. And that's hard to do because there are so many people that are going to hate on that. And I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I just wanted to commend you for it because I think that's a really important thing and something that kind of goes by the wayside a lot of the times, is what people seeing like weak or like sensitive, but it's so important. And I just wanted to bring that up. But also, you were talking early on about like these wake up calls, and it seems like you had like a bunch of them. And I think the one that stuck out to me is obviously you had to go from corporate life to owning your own business. How did that transition go? Because I am curious. I know you marketed pretty quick, and you didn't have paint on the wall. Did you have them just come in, or did you were you just like raw about it? You're like, hey, here it is. I'm going to teach you as best I can.
Yeah, I basically told them, as I'm building you, I'm going to build this gym, and we're in this together. There's people that have been there since day one, and that's how I pitched it. Like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is my story, and I can't throw paint on these walls until I make enough money. And so, I couldn't have done this without my fiance, to be honest.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
financially, she supported the family while this hard time happened, but now here we are, and things worked out the way they did. But that took a lot of people to believe in me and stick by my side, even though, there was other gyms available. There's gyms with lights and bags and all that around. But I believed as a coach, and what I was teaching was bigger than boxing, and that I could get the people there and for them to stay. Funny story about that is I coached Devin Bush of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And so this started with Bud Dupree back in the day. I coached him. And then once you're in that group, what happens is they really – and I try telling this to everybody. Think about it. Like, put yourself in their shoes. In high school, they were the top dog. They go to college. They're the big man on campus. And then you get moved to a city where you know nobody. And your only hope is the people that you work with at the Pittsburgh Steelers and who they – so once you're in that group, they tend to like pass your name around like, hey, this guy's legit. So it started with Bud Dupree, ended up with a bunch of them. Brian Shaziro's going to his house and training him, and then ended up with Devin Bush. So Devin Bush is a rookie, and I know nothing about this guy except for he's like a dog. Like, he's a hard ass. So he comes to the gym, and again, I have nothing done. The drywall was still in the gym. Dude, there was nails on the floor, right? So this dude shows up in nothing but Michigan slides. I'll never forget this. And I go, yo, you got to put shoes on. And he's like, I'm like, look around, dude. There's nails everywhere. Like, you cannot step on one of these nails, and like, you're a Pittsburgh Steeler. Like, if you step on one of these nails, Mike Tomlin's calling me, and I'm in big, big trouble, bro. And he's like, no, I work barefoot to work on my balance. This dude, nails all over the floor. Worked out for an hour barefoot.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
Jeez.
I can't even step on gravel, bro.
Those were the days that, man, like, I was just, we were like grinding it out, nails on the floor. And hey, if he's staying around and there's nails on the floor, why can't the kid down the street show up? You know?
That's the definition of, imperfect action and just doing it, man.
Yep. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, actually, yeah.
And one of my friends owns a concrete business, Dave Shevlin, and I talked to him about this. He was always saying, "Dude, just jump head first. Like, leave your job and do it." And I'm like, "I can't." He's like, "Do it." He's like, "I did this. I thought I was in the same shoes you were." Like, he was like a mentor almost for me. He's like, "I was in the same shoes as you, working my ass off, doing this, doing that, missing family time, and now I open my own business, and I wish I would have done it sooner." That's what you're gonna say, and I do.
Do you feel like, so, I mean, because it's called the, burn the ship kind of message, get on the island, burn the ship, you're not going back, it's like, so you got to figure out how to survive. I mean, that's really what it's like. So do you feel like do you feel like you could have done it sooner and you would have been fine? Like, you would have. Yep.
I wish I would have. Yeah. I still to this day say that. And you have the burn the ship message. Mine is face tattoos. So, after I opened my business, I went and got my face tattooed twice. I have one here and one on the side of my head. And that was my message to myself. That was my promise to myself that you got to survive. You're not going back. You're never going back to the 9-to-5 life. You have face tattoos now. So
take that, corporate interviews.
Yeah. So I did lose a couple jobs over my throat tattoo, not getting fired, but like interviews.
Yeah.
Because I had this while I was working. I'm all tattooed, front and back, all over. I'm running out of space here. But I had this, and they accepted me for who I was, and that's the companies I wanted to work for. Yeah. Like, if you saw my throat tattoo and you judge me for that, like, fuck, I don't want to work for you, you weirdos. Yep. Like, this is art. That's all it is. It doesn't make me a convict. I've never been, So I went and got my face tattooed, and like, you want to talk about getting judged? Get your face tattooed, man. Watch what people in a grocery store do. Like, they'll back away. So yeah, it's my promise to myself, man. I know now I can never go back to a 9-to-5 because I'm not getting my face lasered. No way.
So let's talk about some of the mental aspects of this. So obviously, I feel like in boxing. Like I said, I've never boxed before. I've never been in a fight or anything. I played competitive baseball. You know, I was a pitcher, so I always it was a mental thing for me. How much comparison is there between the mental aspect of when you're stepping into that ring versus running your business, even the training portion of the boxing and running your business? Is there a lot of crossover between the mental toughness and overcoming challenges?
Yeah, I think that's why I've found success is because of my background. Like being able to step in that ring and put yourself out there in front of everybody. Like, you got to think about that. I'm out there now in front of 500, 1,000, maybe 1,500 people now as a main event fighter. And so to put myself out there, knowing like all these kids that I mentor, my own kids are at these fights, and to put myself out there and be so vulnerable, like there's no excuses. Like, I can't blame it on a pitcher. I can't blame it on my running back. It's me. It's win or lose. That's why it's the greatest feeling in the world when you win, and it's the hardest loss you'll ever take because it's you and only you. So I think that just that being out there by myself and putting myself out there in those vulnerable situations has helped me. And just like being in a fight, that's what owning a business is. Like, it's so cliche, but like you said, you got to roll with the punches. You have to slip at times. It's constant little games of chess for me. Like, and that's how business is. Like, there's rounds where I've dominated, and I know going back into that corner, hey, oh, we beat his ass. You know, I'm way ahead on the scorecards. And then there's rounds where I was like sitting in the corner, like, did we win that one? Uh-oh, we're down. So it's just like a business. There's days where I'm way ahead, and there's days where I'm down. And that boxing mentality has gotten me through to keep going, you know? Like, there's no end game here for me. Like, that's the only difference is there's an end game in boxing. Like, I know at round 6, this is over. Yeah. I don't know when this is over. Like, I really do plan to do this for the rest of my life and probably not retire and be that old Mickey guy in the gym. Like, I'm 32 now, but at 70 and 80, what could the Sanctuary Boxing Club be? Could we have 5 gyms across Pittsburgh? Could we have changed 1 million lives, 100,000 lives? Like, what can this be by the time I'm done?
Yeah. And you know, even obviously inside of the gym, even like with the rules that you have for the kids, it seems like you're obviously more focused on making good citizens and
leaders,
adding some mental toughness into their life. It's more mental battle than it is, hey, actually coming and learning boxing. They're coming away with so much more than just learning to throw their fists, you know?
Yeah, it's bigger than boxing. That's what I always say. Through boxing, I can teach you life lessons, and boxing can bring you life lessons. But it's the little things that I do in the gym every day that I think makes these kids separate themselves. Like, do I think I have a world champion in that gym? Yeah, maybe I do. And I say this all the time. Like, I can create maybe one world champion in my time in the gym, but I can create 1,000 good human beings. That's guaranteed. I can do that. So, like, every kid on day one, they got to stand up in front of the class and they have to public speak. I make them take their hands out of their pocket.
Amazing.
I make them stare. I get used to that. And just little things like that. And I ask them a question of the day. So they're used to talking to adults. They're used to conversating. And I make them share. I make them clean up after themselves. I make them do all this stuff. Just little things that separate themselves. So when they're older or getting a job, like, they're ahead, they're different, and they're different mentally because of the shit that I put them through in the gym. And I'm not saying I kill them. It's not that hard, but for today's generation, man, like, I think we can all agree it's soft, man. Like, I hate it. Mm-hmm. Like, I have kids growing up in this world, and I want them. My goal is like, and that's what my dad did. You know, when he passed, I think about all the stories. Like, he made the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to coach.
When I leave, that's the goal.
I think that's the future of boxing. I mean, if you establish a framework and a structure where you can scale this out, like, that is huge. Like, there's so many cities in that. Like, look at Pittsburgh alone. Like, all these steel mill cities that just are, you know, hurting. You know, that could use that exact sanctuary model. That, I mean, if you get that to a point where you can get coaches and everything, like almost like a franchise. That's huge. I mean, world-class boxing didn't do that in Ambridge. It was basically fight and try to train for golden gloves. That was it. And, you know.
He might end up in the Hall of Fame, though. He is, I will say, Tommy is one of the best coaches in the
Yeah.
world. But that's where I think we're all different. Like, a lot of these coaches and gyms, like, there's some fitness gyms that are like franchise opportunities and stuff like that, and I think they have the business model.
Yep.
And then there's the old school boxing guys, the small gyms that build up the fighters. Like, they don't really want to work with the fitness people, and they don't really want to work with the little kids unless they have serious blue chip prospect
They
talent.
want the cream of the
Then they'll
crop.
work with them.
Yeah.
They want the fighters. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm mixing both. I have 25 fighters. I have people that join the gym just for fitness, and I have kids at 4 years old learning how to punch. So I think the model is totally different, and that's what I wanted to do. It's not a fitness boxing gym. It's not a boxing gym aimed at fighters. I can do both.
Yep. And let's be honest, as business owners, you got to have a business somewhere. There's more business in that model than there is in training fighters, I think.
Oh, I knew that from the very beginning. There's no money in fighters.
Right.
A lot of them come from hard backgrounds.
Yep.
You work out a lot of deals with those kind of kids. Like, if you're fighting for the gym, you're an advertisement. I'll give you a discount, like stuff like that. But there's no money in training fighters because it's a very rare breed to be a young kid being able to have that mentality to go out there and fight.
Yeah.
Like, I have more women and kids than I do fighters, but I do have 25 fighters. So we started with maybe 1 or 2, and we're at 25 right now.
You're on to something. That's pretty incredible, and I think it's going to be growing here quickly. So be careful.
I hope. We're going to nationals in July. So the girls, it's hard to find them fights, especially young girls. So I have 5 girls that I'm taking to nationals in Kansas in July. So we might have some number 1 ranked girls in the country. And,
very cool.
It's
crazy.
It's just impossible to find them fights. So I'm really excited for this to see where they're at. Like, they have these little girls, 8 years old, 65 pounds will put it on you.
Dang, I got to get back into the gym here.
Right? This just makes me realize how important mission is, in business, right? And obviously, your mission is different than the guys down the street, and it hits home with people.
Yep.
It really does hit home with, and I it takes a while sometimes for people to find that mission, right? Your mission comes out of your passion for it, right? And because you firsthand know the impact that it's had on your life, so you go duplicate that with other people. And I think business owners, sometimes we try way too hard to create a non-genuine mission. Like, Rich, your mission's very genuine, so it's super easy for people to connect with it and say, man, I don't care if this guy just has drywall up. Like, I want to work with him. I want him to train me. So I kudos to you for that, for connecting strong to that mission. Seems like you remind yourself a lot of that mission almost every day. It's like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing
I do. It's hard. Like, I say this all the time. Like, my wife asks me all the time, like, how was work? And I'm like, work? What? That wasn't work. I guess the way to put this is, and this is weird coming from a business owner because you're probably used to hearing this, and there's a lot of financials that come out of it, right? People want to talk about how much money they're making and this and that.
Sure.
I make enough money to support my family, I'll tell you that, but I never started this dream to be a multi-millionaire. That's not the goal. My goal is to be able to spend time. I get to watch my kids grow up. Do you know how much money that's worth?
Right.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I get to take my kids to preschool. I get to take them to the park. I get to spend – I'm home right now watching my kids grow up. And like, my daughter, she's starting to talk, like, say first words. Like, I would have missed that for what? A higher paycheck every 2 weeks? You can't – there's no way you can tell me you can't put a price tag on this shit. There's no way.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I think so many people get caught up in, it's money. And yeah, I am worried about that because obviously I have to survive and have 6 kids, and who knows what the future is. My daughter's going to Edinburgh in the future here next year. So my oldest. So there's definitely financials that have to go with it. You have to think about that. But if that's the only thing you're thinking about,
it's not enough motivation.
No, you're gonna hit some at some point you're gonna hit something harder, and money ain't gonna drive you through it.
Wow.
Your why and your passion has to be bigger than money. And if it ain't, I'm telling you, when that thing hits you hard, like a pandemic or something like that, and your financials is your only motivation to show up to work, I don't know how many swear words I can say, but you're fucked.
Yep.
That is what it is, man. It's just, you got to have a bigger, and I listen to a lot of motivational speakers. Like I love Eric Thomas and I love Inky Johnson. Those are the guys that I resonate with because they came from nothing. Not saying that I came from nothing, but those guys have had some like really hard life hardships and battle through it to be talkers in the world. Like, and just I resonate a lot with those guys.
So Rich, let's get, I have a couple of things written down. We'll get to in a second. But I want to see, this podcast is obviously made for business owners, right? So one thing we try to connect on is, you look, as a business owner, there's always something going on. There's always a challenge right in front of you, and there's different challenges at different stages. What's your biggest challenge right now where you sit inside of your business?
Oh. I think I get this. People would tell you this about myself. At times, I struggle coming to ask people for money. Mm-hmm. Like my hardest thing is like, because my passion's in this, that like, if your monthly payments due, I never was that kid. Like, I still can't do it. Like my whole life, my parents gave me money to like, you couldn't pay for me to go out to eat. Like if I was out with your family and I was your friend, I was paying for myself to eat. You couldn't pay for me to eat. You couldn't pay for me to do that. Like, and to this day, I carry that. And I think that's my biggest challenge is like having more of a biz mind and cutting out the friendship, loving aspect of, like, and then to see struggle, I know, like, I can see it. Like, in this area, and like New Ken and some of these kids and some of these parents, like, I can see it. I know they're struggling, and it's so hard for me to go, hey, your money's due. Like, you're 5 days late. So it's going to take a long time. I think I can get there, but man, it's hard. Yeah. Like, just from my growth, like, I'm not out to be a millionaire. This ain't my passion, ain't money. So it's hard for me to go, hey, your $100 is due. Right. I feel horrible when I do that. And because I know maybe we're going through, especially when we were going into the pandemic, to go ask people like, better hope you got your stimmy check because I couldn't do that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest challenge like right now. And like inside the gym, I'd say the worst thing is coming to New End. Like I thought my age group that I was going to be over with was like 14 to 20-year-old dudes. And we struggle with those guys. And I can't figure it out. Cool. Especially in this area, like New Ken's tough. Like that's what I want to post on Facebook. Like, who's the bad in New Ken? Like, we haven't found you yet. Like, where are you at?
Yeah.
I think that comes down to like dads. Dads, they're a little soft. And the second thing is kids are this drives me nuts, man. Like, I don't want to get off on a tangent. I'll try to keep this short. The individualized sports that these kids do at a young age, man, it drives me nuts. There's no reason a kid at 8 years old should be playing baseball year round or soccer year round. Like, what that comes down to is people hate hearing this, but this is the truth. These are dads living through their kids. They got placed. They didn't work hard enough as kids. They didn't do good enough in youth athletics. So now their kid is their second opportunity at athletics, and it's sickening.
Yep.
There's a difference. There's a difference in supporting your kid, pushing them to their highest level, and there's a difference in living through your kid. And dude, the dads in this area, man, they live their kids. People ask me all the time. This drives me nuts. All the time I get this. I got 6 kids, right? And people go, When's Oakland, who's 5, when's Oakland going to start boxing? Hey, whenever the hell she wants to. And if she doesn't, if she wants to be a dancer, she can dance. I don't care. You know why? Because I lived my life. I lived my athletics. I'm still a professional athlete. That does not mean I have to follow my footsteps. My 13-year-old son boxes. He loves it. He is a phenom. I'm not lying. This kid is special. He is really, really good. But if he wants to quit, he can quit tomorrow. Like, I don't need my kids to do for me. And I think that's why we struggle, because these 14 to 20 dudes, or even 12-year-olds, they're playing a sport year round and don't have time to just be an athlete.
Yeah.
The world's missing today.
I mean,
like,
you see,
the athlete that
you see pro athletes. I believe like Nolan Arenado, our third baseman for the Cardinals. I think he took up jiu-jitsu in this offseason because he wanted to be more explosive. So, like,
the Pittsburgh Steelers are boxing. Najee Harris, Mark Robinson, Bud Dupree. All these guys are doing stuff different. And even scouts will tell you when you go Division I or Division II, they will tell you what other sports are you playing. And if you say, I don't, they don't want you to be an individualized athlete. And this to me, and I think it's because this starts with the iPad era that I see it in my neighborhood. Like, I live in a suburb, right, and we have a housing plan and all these houses. These kids aren't outside. Like, dude, in the summer, I went outside. I played baseball. I played soccer. I played whatever my neighborhood was. That day, we played that. I became an athlete. I wasn't a baseball player. I wasn't a soccer player, and I wasn't a wrestler. I was an athlete. That's why I could play 3 in high school, because I just played something different every day. And the general athlete is missing in today's world. Like, the gap is so far now.
Absolutely.
That's our biggest challenge, like getting those kids in there. And then, I think one would probably be like the kids that do come in that are like from a rough area here, like, how do I charge them and stuff like that? Like, where's the happy medium, and how do I make it fair for the other people that are paying full price to this kid that can't afford it? Like, we're trying to find out like sponsorship programs and stuff like that, like almost like angels behind the scene that would pay for kids monthly, so it's still fair for everybody else. Like, I can't let you walk in the gym for free when somebody's paying $300 a month for their family.
No, that's really smart. That sponsorship. I actually wrote it down because I was like, man, Dan and I need to connect with you, because for real, I would let because I think that age range you're talking about, man, this isn't just. This is fit. Like, this is like you're getting better at every sport by hopping in your gym. Like, I don't care what you play, what you're going for. If you're going in your high school, you can be a college baseball player, you can be a college football player, college basketball. Like, this right here will help you. That
and then mentality wise, like, every sport you battle hardships. Like, you could be a pitcher on the mound. you might have bases loaded and be walking guys and having a hard time out there. And like, how do you get through that moment? Well, boxing might have helped you, but now you're soft mentally because you didn't box or you didn't do something else because you're too worried about your daddy's worrying about you going to Clemson for free.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to go back to the mindset real quick on the money, because I would almost guarantee you that 50%, 60% of business owners in their first couple years or more, sometimes even farther than 5 years, still deal with that. And I know I did. I had, in my marketing company, I went and I had to charge financial advisors for individual marketing services. And I'm not sure if it's a Pittsburgh thing or what, but I hated charging them. And guess what? Those people could afford it. And and now after 2 years and 3 years of actually charging them, like physically going through and actually charging it, that barrier did go away. But one thing that I would suggest is maybe finding a way where you can disconnect a little bit from that side. Now, also getting the sponsors, because you want those kids in there.
I mean, the kids is tough.
Yeah,
I would have a hard time. Yeah.
And
that's
like,
different.
If I had to go to a kid, I can't hate them. Like, I can hate a financial advisor every now and then, but like, if you disconnect it, make it just on the side there's more business. Like, hey, you got a bookkeeper, maybe have her or him do it. You know what I mean? That helps because but then if someone's struggling, your bookkeeper can report it to you and you can be like, hey, okay, we're going to take you and we're going to get you some sponsors. We're going to get some fundraising and we're going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So amazing.
But like you said, with these kids, like, I can tell right away, man. Like, it's easy to tell. Like, sometimes they come in and they have dirty clothes or dirty shoes, and it's like, all right, this is where, like, I have to just try my best to, like, at the end of the day, like, my fiance would even say this, like, a kid will come in the gym and I tell her, like, hey, I can tell they're struggling. Right. She says, I'll sponsor them with her tattoo shop, like, just don't tell anybody, but I'll pay for them, like, It's bigger than boxing. Like,
Absolutely.
I can't keep those kids out. Like, what if that kid doesn't have anything else? What if this is their 1 hour a day where they do feel loved and they do have friends? Like, you're going to tell me that the $15 for a class, I'm going to kick that person out because they don't have it? I can't. It's not in my body. I can't do it. The passion's bigger than the money. Right. And when you have that, then that's where the challenge is.
And that's their ticket out, really.
Well, I mean, there's so many avenues. I mean, to get those, and you know, I think that's amazing thing about what you do. You know, is like it's more than just boxing. It's bigger than boxing. So it's like, okay, these kids that come in that can't afford it, but they need it, right? I know they can benefit from it. You know, how do we open something else up to where people, because it's crazy, but people are willing to sponsor, like, oh, that kid. Okay, great. I love the cause. Here's some money, you know, donations and things like that, which would
throw a logo on your shorts. And next thing you know, you get sponsored.
You know,
and like we have a lot of open space in the gym right now as far as like walls go. Like, it is pretty dope. I had my buddy who's huge right now. He's blowing up. His name's Camo Customs. He did a shoe for John Geiger. He did shoes for Chris Brown. He does custom shoes, but he does custom. Yeah, he's big. But I got the family discount because I've known him for a while. He came in and did portraits of Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, and then like a graffiti that says "Float and Sting." And so the gym's all painted real. It's so cool, man. Is
there any pics of it anywhere? I want to see it.
It's on. Yeah, I do have them. So they're on the. I think should be on Facebook, and if not, message me. I'll send them to you. But I sat there, dude. It was like America's Got Talent. I just sat there in the gym for 4 hours and watched them do it. Like, I should have sold tickets to that shit, dude. Not one paintbrush, all can.
Wow.
It was mind blowing, dude.
That's crazy.
And then, so I have this open above the gym, like on the side. There's these big things that go across, and so there's an opportunity. You know, if like you want to pay a monthly fee. To put your sign up there as a company, right? So everyone's in the gym is looking at it, and a small fee like that, like when I tell you it's going towards a kid that can't afford the gym,
exactly.
Come on, man. Like you know what you want to do. You know you want to do the right thing.
Yep.
Yeah, you're gonna go support the kids' baseball team for $300 a year, or you're gonna give me $25 a month to hang your flag up there, knowing it's going to a kid that needs it.
Absolutely.
Sell them for $10,000.
I hope they do both. Those kids' baseball teams need help too.
You could easily sell that for like $5,000, $10,000 to some sort of corporation that wants to write off.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, look, businesses like it because it's a tax write off.
You're right.
You know? It's advertising,
and there's a cause now.
Hey, I'm used to sponsorships because like I do it for fights, and that's like for me now, like. Things are changing. The price, yesterday's price ain't today's price because Daddy's gonna be on TV. So, so my sponsorships, like for my shorts and walkout vest, it's going up. You know,
absolutely.
You gonna do the
You're
same
gonna
walkout?
Be a worldwide audience.
Yeah,
you gonna do the same walkout?
Can't tell you. It's a big secret. Can't tell you.
I got it. Okay.
Just know this. Hey, people think I burned out all my good songs. I say the best one for this moment.
All right.
I had one stored in the back pocket for years, and I've been thinking like maybe I should pull it out. Maybe the TV moment ain't coming, but it's here, and I'm saved it.
I love it.
It's like gonna be like a wedding. If you've ever been to a wedding, they play it at a wedding, and people go nuts.
Oh, amazing!
So. I love it.
All right, when you come out that chicken dance, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Andrew, I cut you off there.
No, you're good. I was just say. I have 4 things I wrote down, and Rich, I sent them to you in Facebook Messenger, but kind of 4 things. One of them I just added, it hit me, but 4 things that I kind of take away from, boxing. And, like I said, I don't know much about it, but, it's kind of the cliche things, right? That business owners can apply too, and the first one is strategy. How much is, prepping for a fight, how much does strategy go into it, right? Is there different strategies?
99%, man. Like this sport is 90% mental, 10% physical. Like that's why I think I found success in boxing. Like, like most dudes, I don't know what it is. Like they love the sob story. Like my dad was a crackhead and boxing was my only choice. Like, and that's cool. That like, I'm glad that boxing saved your life and that this sport gave you an avenue towards being financially stable. That's cool. Good story, dude. But like, I don't have that. I grew up in economy borough in a middle class home and loving parents. Like, I didn't grow up in a broken home. Like, it's gonna sound shitty, but like, it's gonna suck when you get your ass beat by that nerdy middle class dude that grew up in the economy borough. Because yeah, like, that's a cool story, bro. But everybody has that story, and I think that's where I'm different. And that's what the same thing I told the BKFC. Like, if you want me to tell you a sob story, I'll tell you about my dad. That's the only thing sad in my life is losing my father. But I'm not going to give you a bullshit story about how I grew up on the streets and fighting's my only option. I fight because I love this shit. Like, this is a chess match. I play chess all the time, all day long on my phone. I play chess, and that's what boxing is to me. It's strategy. Like, I have a very high, I think if you would ask coaches in this area, like, what makes me good? I'm not powerful. I'm not fast. I'm pretty slick defensively, but when it comes down to it, I have a very high boxing IQ because I have a high IQ in general. Like, I love studying this game. I watch film. I sit down and I break film down, play, pause. Like, what did he do there? Like, I'm always just studying the game. And when I'm fighting an opponent, bro, man, by the time you get in the ring, I know every mistake you made in your whole life. I probably know your social security number. Like, I have you pigeonholed till if you drop your hand in round 1 and you drop it in round 4, I'm going to tell you that before the fight.
Wow.
Like, hey, your last fight, you dropped your hand in round 1 and round 4. Don't do it tonight. Like, that's how much I love the strategy of this. And I think that's why I found success. And, like, I just carry that right over to the business aspect of things. Like, I'm studying other businesses. I'm listening. I'm learning. I'm listening to speakers, and I'm trying to. And my fiance, like, she owns a business. There's no better person that's. How could I have a better mentor? She's owned a business for how long? 1998. You know, so she's been around. She's been the ups and downs and the highs and lows. So. And she owns a very successful business. So strategy, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm always reaching out to her. Like, where do I go here? What do I do?
Absolutely. So. And that's where I think, especially I've seen actually successful business owners that have no strategy. They just, they really don't. They kind of fly. They're just naturally gifted. They fly by the seat of their pants. And I'm like, man, you could be doing so much more. You could be winning so many more fights. If you implemented some strategy and start understanding the how business flows and the mechanics of business, and really starting to study and break down. Like, I'm huge on breaking stuff down. I'm like, how do I understand it? Right. So it's like, I imagine boxing's the same way. I use baseball because that's what I did. I didn't throw the hardest, but what I did is I studied my ass off on learning counts and understanding when guys are going to run and understanding, hey, if this guy's standing this way, this is where I need to throw the ball. I need to break it away from him. I need to cut it inside of him. All those things in business is the same way. It's like, how do I look at this, break it down and understand the mechanics of it so I can get in front of it and beat it?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think, from the beginning business owner to even, like I said, I've seen some guys that have made it a couple million. They're just like, hey, we've just done what we've always did and it worked. We don't know why. Yep. It's like, man, you don't really have an understanding, but you have to gain understanding.
Yeah, that, and I think you have to be willing to change. That was the biggest thing for me. Like, this is new to me, so I have to change, I have to evolve. As boxing evolves, like, and this is where I think the old school guys are going to struggle. Boxing's evolving, and if you can't see it, you're gonna miss the bus, brother. Because, like, guys are starting to switch righty and lefty. They're starting to, like, there's no new punches. There's nothing really new, but people are starting to switch up their stances a little bit. And if you can't fight righty and lefty or coach that way, you might be left behind pretty soon. And then these guys, like, sparring hard 8 days a week, like, that shit doesn't work. There's science behind this. Like, you need to save your brain. Like, you're going to be brain dead by the time you're 18 years old if you're doing that. Like, you have to evolve with the way times evolve and the way the game evolves. Like, and so, like, when it comes to business for me, like, same thing as boxing, as I'm evolving boxing wise and business wise, I've evolved. Like, when I started this shit, dude, like, monthly members had to write. I had a Staples folder with their monthlies, and they had to, like, they would pay me and then they would write it in there themselves. And so I'm like, not that anybody ever did this, but, like, they could just go in there and write their name and they paid for the month, and I didn't know. I had no tracking of the financials. And I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't working. And then, for, like, this year, dude, a guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, I'm paying for my son, so-and-so. And he goes, you have a receipt? And I'm like, nope. And he's like, what? And I was like, I don't. And he's like, can you text me that I paid? And I'm like, sure. So I ran to Staples right after that, and I got like copies of receipts now. And so every month you pay. I have Google Sheets, so I'm running it right from my phone. So when you pay me, I put it in there and change it to sell to green, and then I give you a receipt, and then I keep the books in the gym where your copy of your receipt goes to you, and I get a yellow copy. It's like a carbon copy, and I keep it in a folder monthly. So, there's been issues where people were like, what am I doing? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you tell me. So like that's how little I cared about the money at the beginning. But then I started like realizing like, whoa, I got 6 kids at home. Like I got to get a little harder on this and figure this out. Like I got to track this a little bit. So
yeah, Dan,
that's what
we need to help Rich out a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that.
Dude. Shit, dude, man. Like, and it's all me, like my fiance will help me out, but like it's me and only me. Like there's no co-owners. There's other coaches there, but they have nothing to do with the money. Like this is me and only me. And I have to evolve and get better at that. But like, hey, it is what it is, man.
I mean, we're
still ticking. We're still ticking.
No, I mean, the thing is you have a great business. Like people are coming in the doors, It's like the other stuff to figure out is easy stuff. Yep. Like honestly, you have the hard part kind of figured out.
Absolutely.
You're doing a lot of what people are so worried about the other stuff first. And then like, wait, I can't get clients or customers. It's like,
they got a perfect logo, but they don't have anything else.
I mean, we talked about it last week. It's like, if you don't have demand, then who cares how much supply you got? I don't care if you got 900 shirts. No one wants to buy them.
Yeah.
Like figure out that and then order the, So that was the first thing was strategy. You have to have a strategy in business. Boxing, you have to have a strategy, gain some understanding, do what Rich does, listen to podcasts, read books. If you don't like to read, learn to like to read. Read some books. Okay. Yep. It just, you got to get used to it. Right. If you think it's not cool to read, you're an idiot. Okay. And like, that's just the reality. The second thing was you have to expect to take hits, right? I would imagine, Rich, when you walk into a boxing match, you're expecting to get hit. Like, that you are going to get hit. Has there ever been a match where you said, I don't think I'm going to get hit today?
Maybe the first one.
Yeah, right. And then you probably learned.
Maybe my professional debut because I was kind of outclassed the kid, but I still got hit.
Mm-hmm. So it's like if we went into it had the expectations that we're not going to get hit, you probably lack strategy for one, right?
Or you're going to get hit in the training too for it.
It's just not realistic, right? You're not going to train for it. You're not going to prepare mentally for it. Right. You have to prepare mentally to get hit. And guess what? In your business owner journey, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit probably daily, but you got to keep going at it, right?
Yeah.
So
hit and don't get hit. That's the game plan, but it doesn't always work that way. Like when I think of hits, or boxing wise, I think of like when it's hit or miss. Like certain months, like beginning of summer, right? Kids are just coming out of school and they want to go be friends and they want to go on vacation. They want to go play with their friends swimming and do all that, and that's cool. So I've anticipated that to know that June, July is going to be slow. And then when school kicks off, their friends are saying at school, hey, I'm at the boxing gym. It's a lot of fun. And they're showing them moves in the hallway. And then I expect those kids to show up to the gym. So I expect that September, like I'm starting to now timeline it to where I know I have to budget properly because there are slow months. And so it comes down to strategy. Like if I'm not planning for that and I'm out, buying a Lamborghini in June, I'm in big trouble because like I didn't plan properly. So that's the hits that comes with the gym. But when I say hit and don't get hit, like the hits for me, like, man, the coolest part about it every day is like, this is my favorite thing. It's my all-time favorite thing about the gym. I don't know who is going to walk through those doors. Mm-hmm. Every day is a mystery to me. Like, yes, the same people do show up every single day. And I love those people. Like, they almost become a family to me.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. There's a mystery behind it every day. Like, there might be a 12-year-old kid from New Kent stumbles in the gym that might be a future world champion. Mm-hmm. Or there might be a kid that needs me in his life. Like, that's the coolest part. Like, I'll take the slow months. I'll take that. Like, I'll slip those. I'll roll through that. But like when I get the hit back, that's me hitting back is like the mystery of every single day.
Wow.
Like we had a kid show up yesterday, 14 years old. I don't know how much he weighs because I didn't ask him. 14 years old. He's like 6'2". I was like, dude, what is in the water? And his dad's like 5'10". His dad's like 5'9" maybe. And I'm like, yo,
what happened?
This come? Right. Yeah. Where'd this kid come from? So, man, like man, I love it. I like tonight. I can't wait to get to the gym because I don't know.
Yeah.
And the phone calls are fun too. Like those are always exciting.
Absolutely.
Like, mom's calling me like the best was I got a phone call last week. This kid's coming Thursday, so hopefully she listens to this. She calls me and goes, man, my 6-year-old kid wants to come to the gym, and he was crying on Sunday because I couldn't bring him to the gym to sign up, and you guys were closed. He wanted me to take him to every gym in the area just to try boxing. Like, all he watches is boxing. All he does at home is boxing. And I'm like, wait a minute. He's 6? And she's like, yeah, he's 6 years old. And I'm like, we need this kid. Bring him ASAP. You know, like 6 years old with that mentality. But, like, just the phone calls are cool, you know? Like, all these people calling me. Like, it's interesting.
And even, you know, kind of taking a step back on the strategy, it's like you now understand, hey, these are my slow months, but I also have an opportunity for a promo or something like that for back to school. You know, like that's when kids are pumped. They're starting to see each other again. Like, you know, so it's like understanding your business and the seasonality of it to understand, hey, when is my best time for a promo or sale or, you know, whatever.
That and Facebook ads, man, like people don't understand.
Yeah.
Woo! The way they have that down, like statistic wise that you can see, holy cow, man.
Yeah.
Dude, like I spent $5 in 1 month or like maybe I spent 50 1 month and I spent 5 another. Like it was small, but dude, to see the hits and stuff like that came out of it, holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the phone was ringing off the hook. And I'm like, this is the best $50 I ever spent. I get to pick what area I want it in, what people that I already like on Facebook, like aimed at all these people. It's crazy to think that they have that down.
It's funny because that's what I do. I do Facebook ads. I'm like a Facebook ad. Yeah. You know, so it's crazy. I mean, especially for amazing businesses like yours, it's the service side, service-based businesses. I mean, you get phone calls like crazy and you didn't have to invest that much, you know? No. So absolutely amazing. The third thing I have is sometimes you got to outlast. It's just like, how do I keep going? You know, I'm sure there's some fights, obviously you're going for a knockout. It's like, but there's probably, I would imagine there's some guys, and this is where strategy I'm sure is involved too, but I'm sure there's some guys you're like, I just got to outlast him.
Yeah.
I'll win this match. Just got to outlast him. He's going to get tired in round 3. I just got to outlast him, you know? Yeah. And we hear it a lot. I think we lost Dan here, but it's okay. He'll pop back in. You know, how much of that is I have to outlast, you know, in business, we have to outlast, you know, most businesses fail within like the first, you know, like 3 years, I think, something like that. It's like, if you can survive, get past that, you're going to be fine.
Yeah. I started in a pandemic, bro. So like day one was hard, you know, like you want to talk about outlasting, man. Like I started in round 10. Day one, round 1 was round 10 for me. I was already gassed out. Like that's how hard it was at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, like I said already, I think the key to that is evolving. Like as business evolves, as times evolve, like how do you evolve as a business? How do you evolve as a person? How do I evolve as a coach? Like I'm constantly like Instagram boxing is kind of weird, man. Like there's some dudes on there that are on there way too much that don't have they shouldn't be on there. And there's some high quality things on there. So like, yeah, do study some Instagram guys and stuff like that. Like it's a good tool. And if you're not looking at that stuff and you're not utilizing that stuff, then you're going to get left behind.
Absolutely.
So, and I don't even think about that word. Like you said, fail, and that like made me panic. Like I don't even think about that. Like that's not an option for me. So I don't have a choice. Like that's why just like in fighting, like I know I'm not the fastest. I know I'm not the strongest, and I'm 32 years old now. So like I do have to know that going into a fight, you're not going to outlast me. It has to be conditioning wise for me. Yeah. That can't be an option. Like I have to be in better shape than you because I know I'm not faster and stronger than you at times. So if I've won a lot of fights on conditioning alone, just being able to be as good in round 1 as I was in round 4 or round 6. So that's the same thing in the business world for me is 5 years down the road, I already have a plan. 10 years down the road, I have a plan, but I have to be just as good or better than
Absolutely.
down the road than I am now. And if
Absolutely.
I can't evolve, see ya. Then failing and it would be an option, but it ain't.
Yeah, and that's part of outlasting. It's like it's kind of getting up, getting it again. Hop in the ring again. And thing is, you have to prepare for it. And I think people don't prepare mentally. Business owners don't take care of their mental side enough to outlast, right? Because there's going to be blows. You're going to get, like we said, you're going to get hit, right? Yeah. But the strategy is, how long can I stay in the ring here? How long can I stay on my feet? I think that's super, super important for business owners. I don't think Dan's going to be hopping back on with us. But Rich, hey man, it's been absolutely, I would love to connect with you outside of this, just talk business stuff. And
I could use all the help I could get, man.
Look, we can too, there's things that I learned from you in this podcast, but we always leave our audience with a question, and we're going to ask you, if you had to say one thing, if you could tell business owners one thing to become limitless, what would it be? So if there's one thing that you say, hey, that's what you need to tap into to become limitless, what would that thing be?
I think it has to be your passion. The why has to be, it's like Inky Johnson says, like, someday you're going to run into something that's bigger than you. And if your purpose is only you in life and your why is only money, then you're not going to get through that. Like, when that hardship comes, and if your why ain't bigger than just you, you're in big, big trouble on that day. So absolutely. I think before you even open your business, like, are you opening the why? Like, why? Ask yourself the question, am I opening this business to be a multimillionaire? Am I opening this business to spend more time with my family? Am I opening this business for freedom? Like me, like time freedom, like to be able to do what I want and train during the day? Or am I opening this business because it's because I don't want to work and I need the money? Yeah. And for me, like, the passion is to change this world, to make this area that I am in now and going to live for the rest of my life a better place, and to make these kids stronger physically, mentally, and give them endless opportunities as far as boxing goes. Like, just to watch these kids come in, like, it's cool to see a girl come in the gym last year, right? And now she's going to a national tournament, has an opportunity to be number one ranked in the world, or in the country, I mean. So to think about that, like, that opportunity came from my dream and my passion. And so the passion has to be, if you want to be limitless, it's got to be your passion. And if it's money, that's it can be, but that can't be it. It's got to be bigger than that. No.
And I want you guys to listen to what Rich is saying, because he's getting very specific about why he's doing it. He's talking about, he has a story, right? He's like tapping into the story. Of course this girl did come into his gym, but like, I'm sure he thought about changing kids' lives before that. It's like that possibility. You have to, and that's what fuels you. That's what drives you. That's what that passion is not just thinking, hey, I want to change kids' lives, but actually think of a specific story of how you can change someone's life, or, whatever your passion is, right? And money, in reality, money can always be made.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me too is, like, anybody out there, I want everybody to hear this, is that if you wake up in the morning and you put your feet on the ground and you're miserable of, I have to go to work, and you hate it, you're doing the wrong thing. That's not living. That's not what this is supposed to be. Like, in case people don't realize this, you're here one time. And if that's what you're doing, and you're going to do that from 18 to 65, and you think you're going to retire and then live a happy 10 years, you wasted your whole life. Yep. That's not what living is. You need to find a way. If you're miserable when you wake up, go get a different job. Go find your passion and turn your passion into an income. That's what you need to do. Like, you got to find what you're destined to do in this life and do it well. Because I see so many people that wake up every day and go, oh my God, or they bitch about it on Facebook. I hate this job. I hate this work. You're going to do that till you're 65 years old. Yeah. Don't do that. That's not living. Maybe even longer. I mean, and how many people are missing their kids growing up and stuff like that? Like, there's jobs in this world and things that you can do to have freedom. Taste it. Once you get it, you're going to starve for it. Like, once I got to see my kids, take them to preschool one time, you think I'm ever going back to a 9 to 5? Hell no, never. So, like, if you're miserable and you wake up, you're doing it wrong. So find something you love to do and chase it and do it well. And if you're thinking about opening a business, do it.
Do it.
Jump head first. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't do what I did and be forced into it and
wait too long.
burn the ship.
Yeah.
Way too long.
Ship.
I wish I would have. Yeah. I burnt the ship. I burnt the bridge. I'm on the smallest island there was, bro. I was out
there. Rich, man, it's been real. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with you, man. And like I said, we can connect a little bit after this.
For sure, man.
So, hey, we're going to hop off here. Hey, if you haven't rated or reviewed the show yet, please take 2 to 3 minutes to do so right now on whatever platform you listen on. It really helps the show rank better when people are searching for new podcasts to listen to. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we post daily clips from the episode. And then we're just going to ask you to share those clips, right? You never know who of your friends are going to see that clip, and then they're going to start listening to the episode, and then their life changes because they hear something that really helps them overcome a challenge that they're experiencing in their business. It's really going to help them create breakthrough in their business and become limitless. Also, one last thing, right now we are offering a free 7-day trial into our Inner Circle group, Limitless Business Owners Inner Circle. And inside this elite group, you get to learn how you can experience immense, consistent growth inside your business, where you learn the strategies and tactics to grow your business, right? Surround yourself with like-minded people, other business owners that are experiencing what you're experiencing, that are going through it right now, that you can build key relationships with and learn from. And also some people ahead of you that can also teach you something that's going to help you overcome something in your business right now. And then last thing, you can leverage the strategies and tactics it takes to build your dreams and fulfill your purpose. Talk soon.